Here are 15 movements you guys can use no matter what rank you guys are to improve. If you guys practice all 15 of these movements, you will guarantee to improve as a player in Modern Warfare 3 heading into Black Ops 6. Let's get right into it. The first is one of the most simple ones. As we go through, we'll get to more advanced ones, starting off with the standing jump shot. So all you have to do, and all I want you guys to start practicing, is just jumping in the gunfight. There's two main advantages you guys have when doing this, okay? One is it's harder for your opponents to hit you in terms of if they're centered onto your chest, right? And let's just say they're centered onto your head and you jump, it just makes it a little bit harder because you're moving, so their initial centering is kind of off. It kind of gets messed up, right? So if you move in gunfights, if you jump in gunfights, it's a little bit harder for them to hit you. And what happens is you basically look lower on their screen. So let's say they're aiming at your head and they're going for those headshots, which are high damage areas. If you jump, they actually become like chest shots or stomach shots, right? So it becomes a bit harder for them to hit you, and overall just adds a bit more movement to your game. The other thing is it's actually easier for you to hit more shots, and again hit more headshots, which is really, really crucial. So if you're aiming at someone's chest, right, let's say you center onto their chest, if you jump as you shoot and move your recoil slightly lower, what happens is your jump shot now becomes a headshot, and it's very, very efficient. So make sure you utilize this in your game. The first kind of advice I want to say is make sure your controller settings are very, very flexible, because the next 14 things we go through as well, you're going to have to be able to use, you know, the drop shot, the jump shot, all this stuff. So I want you guys to really just experiment, see what controller settings work for you, and make sure it's easy to do. Once you've practiced and gone through and now you can feel comfortable with the jump shot, let's go to the drop shot, which is basically the opposite thing in terms of every time you're in a gunfight, instead of just simply jumping, you are now going prone. The reason why I go through these two first is because for me, they're the most simple, but sometimes the most effective. They're the most popular, and it's just one of the two mechanics that they've been around for years, and basically since Call of Duty's come out, these two have been a staple. So make sure the first things you guys learn is a jump shot and the drop shot. The drop shot, very, very fun to use, very, very crucial. And my biggest advice is when you're drop shotting, right? I want you guys to do this one thing. As you go down into a prone shot, as you're proning, all I want you to do is, you know, with your crosshair, with your centering, as you go down, I want you to move your centering slightly up. And what you're going to find is you're going to hit more body shots, more headshots, because when you just go for a drop shot, you're naturally going lower, so your centering also goes down. So if you can move your centering higher, you're going to maintain those headshots. So remember, the jump shot, you want to move your crosshair and your centering slightly down as you're jumping, and with the drop shot, you want to move it slightly up. Why? We're trying to counter the movement to make sure our centering is perfect. So far, we made some good progress. We've gone through the jump shot, the drop shot. Now we're going to go into jumping backward. This one is really, really important. And to be honest, not a lot of people do it. So what I want you guys to start doing is whenever you find like you're really close to someone, you're in a gunfight and you guys are basically next to each other, which happens all the time. You might be coming around a corner or just something happens that you're on the hill, jump backwards. One, it creates space for you, right? And the space allows you to get easier image and what to do. And two, it throws them off. Most people aren't used to someone jumping backwards. So when you're making that space for yourself, it kind of throws them off and you're in control. The reason why all these movements are so important is because when you do the movement, like when you jump backwards, you know that space is being created, right? So you can react to that. Where for them, they're reacting to your movement and it's very, very hard for them to kind of judge it. So jumping backwards, very, very important, and that's why it's tip number 3. Moving over nicely towards the bunny hop. Now this one is one of my favorite ones. It's something I've started doing a bit more recently. It's something that was really, really broken in previous Call of Duties, but we can still use it. Not as effective, of course, as Vanguard and MW3, but really, really crucial in games like this where no one else is doing it. So what I want you to do is when you know where someone is, right, and you're going for that jump, you're going for that long jump, just add a bunny hop. As you land, I want you to jump again. Now, what's the main reason? Why do we do this? Well, movement is very, very crucial, right? And momentum is a big part of it. So as you're jumping, let's just say you're bunny hopping to the right and you know he's on the street. He's going to be centering at a certain angle. He's going to be centering out somewhere, right? But with the bunny hop, you are going to be jumping further in that direction. So let's just say you're jumping right or left, wherever direction you go. Let's say we're jumping right. You're going to be jumping right and then bouncing again. So as you land, he's going to be shooting you. He's not going to expect the second jump. So it's like a double jump. So make sure you guys do the bunny hop or the double jump, whatever you guys want to call it. If you know where someone is, really, really crucial. What you guys don't want to do is don't just bunny hop out of cover if you don't know where they are. But if you know someone's on the street and you want to, you know, commit to them, maybe you got a health advantage or something like that, jump out on the street, but make sure you double jump. Why? It will be really hard for them to kill you and you'll get a lot more wins in your gunfights. Our fifth tip is going to be jumping off high grounds. This isn't exactly a movement mechanic, but it's something that's very important, and it's definitely a movement tip that will help you guys be more aggressive. Whenever you have the high ground, it gives you the opportunity. When you have that aerial threat, what happens is you're able to approach the gunfight through different angles, things that people aren't really used to or prepared for. So make sure you guys are utilizing the high ground. And I think the biggest thing for me in the high ground is whenever you have a health advantage, that's probably the crucial time, because as you jump towards them, you're kind of guaranteeing an engagement, right? Because they're in a position where they have to engage with you. So use this as the kind of like have it as a card in your gameplay, where if you feel like they're weak and they're one shot and you have the high ground, use it to jump at them. But again, when you're jumping off high ground, be very efficient, be kind of annoying, make sure to jump as you're jumping, shoot them, make sure your crosshair is placed on them. Just make sure when you're jumping off high ground, it's very efficient and effective, and it will guarantee to get you some more kills. Okay, so for now, if you guys are maybe like just under gold level and you guys, you know, went through these first 5, I want you guys to practice these. I want you to go through, really make sure you got these as tools in your locker room. But now we're going to move on to some more tips. This again applies to everyone. Slide canceling to camera corners, really important. Let's first go through the basics. What is slide canceling? Slide canceling is essentially when you press a slide button and then the jump button. Okay, very simple mechanic. Once again, the most utilized mechanic in the game, especially by the pros when you watch them. And the concept that they go through is called breaking the camera. So this is something that people talk about all the time, breaking the camera. Now what does this actually mean? So just give a refresher to everyone. Maybe some of you guys know, some of you don't. Breaking the camera is a term in FPS games where, let's just say you're holding an angle, right? You're pre-aiming a corner. If they were to break your camera, what happens is as they come around the corner, it looks like they saw you a second before you saw them. So you guys might be realizing sometimes you're simply holding an angle, right? You're holding a head glitch and like somebody may come around the corner and take you out and you're like, wait, but like, you don't understand, like, how is that happening? You're holding the head glitch. The thing is, if they were to walk around that corner, you would see them first. But when you slide cancel around the corner, right? When you slide and then cancel round the corner, what happens is because of FPS games, the way it works, the way the lag comp works, just those small details, they actually do manage to see you a second before you see them. And I think it's a really weird concept because even when you're doing it, right? As you slide cancel around the corner, it's kind of strange because as you peek your head out, you think, oh, they can see me, they're going to shoot me. But it's really strange because when you watch the kill cam, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I actually saw them first, even though it looks like I didn't. So once you get kind of familiar with that concept, you'll be a really positive spot to camera your opponent. Okay, so if you know where someone is, or just generally you want to slide cancel round corners, because like I said, if they're there, they could be waiting for you. You want to be ready. You want to make sure you get that second advantage to react to them, whether you want to jump backwards or engage in the fight. But don't just walk around the corners. Don't just run around corners, because you're just a standing target then. To activate the camera, you need to basically jump around the corner or slide. Now, sliding around the corner is just a lot more kind of efficient and easier to do on a longer scale. So make sure to slide cancel round corners at all times, because it will allow you to camera them, get the information. Now, while you're doing this, we also want to focus on our centering, right? Let's say we're slide cancelling around a corner. There's no point doing that if our crosshair is in the sky. We want to make sure our crosshair is lined up where we expect the opponents to be. And that's why that's one of the most important tips coming at number 6, slide cancelling around corners. Okay, I hope you guys are ready. These next 2 tips are going to be slightly more advanced, but I think you guys are ready after what we went through. Tip number 7 is going to be slide cancelling into a jump. Very efficient. You slide cancel like we went through number 6. You combine it with what? Tip number 1, okay? So this is why we went through it slowly. We went through tips differently. Why? Because now all you're doing is combining 2 tips together. So now when you slide cancel, either round a corner or wherever you want to slide cancel, I want you now to jump, okay? And I want you to think about from the enemy's perspective, what are they going to be seeing here? What they're going to be seeing is you are basically coming around the corner. As they see you, you are then jumping. So not only is it harder for them to track you, the constant movement that you're doing is just giving you the edge to controlling the gunfight. So again, at any level you guys are playing in, slide cancel and then jump is such a crucial mechanic to get more information and more kills. And that takes us really nicely into its kind of next tip, which is a slide cancel into a backwards jump. So now you guys are seeing where we're coming from, right? We're just kind of combining mechanics. That's all we're doing. We're combining mechanics. So now I want you guys to slide cancel, but jump backwards, okay? So the reason why this one's also very efficient is just like I said in tip number 3, when you're jumping backwards, you're creating space, okay? So imagine you're slide cancelling around a corner and someone's right next to you. The thing is, the problem is you guys can both kind of panic shot and both shoot each other, and he can either kill you by just pure luck, or it can get you one shot, right? So you want to create that space for yourself. So I want you guys to slide cancel around the corner. If you spot someone right in front of you, because you're not going to be able to jump past them, jump backwards, create that space for yourself. Another crucial thing is when you're slide canceling around the corner, let's just say you're in a 50-50, right? You can jump backwards into cover again. So you can jump backwards while you're shooting. And what that does is it basically acts like a safety boundary, because now you can say, okay, I actually am quite weak, can back away, right? So make sure when you're slide canceling, you're using either the jump or the backwards jump, because it allows you to choose what to do next. And the big thing is I want you guys to start doing is playing for information. The amount of people I coach and they kind of just jump out in the open, I'm like, you probably shouldn't win this gunfight. And that's the thing I want you guys to work through. It's not about that gunfight, it's about what can I do to utilize the movement. So when you slide cancel into a backwards jump, you're creating space and allows you to do whatever you want to do next. If you guys are enjoying these tips so far, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out, and our goal is to become the best guide channel for Modern Warfare 3 heading into Black Ops 6, so your support is really appreciated. Into tip number 9. Right, this one is something that I would say this year is probably one of the most broken ones. Last year, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but the prone double jump was my favorite mechanic, really effective. And this year it's actually the slide into a prone. So it's a little bit different, and we're going to really talk about this in detail. When you slide cancel into a jump, what we went through in tip number 7, the mechanic is slide cancel and then jump. Okay, tip number 8 was slide cancel and then backwards jump. But for this tip, it's not the slide cancel, and this is really important. It's actually just sliding, right? Big difference. What is the difference? When you slide cancel, you press slide, then the jump button. When you're just sliding, it's just a slide button, okay? And I want you guys to really kind of go through this together with me. So I want you to slide. Now, instead of canceling, instead of pressing that jump button, instead, all I want you to do is press the prone button, okay? So when you slide initially, instead of pressing jumping, I want you now to kind of get your hand off the slide button for a second and then hold it down for the prone button. It sounds really weird. As soon as you do it a few times, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is easy. This is kind of efficient. And once you get used to it, it's a game changer. It's so important. As you slide cancel around the corner, like we went through earlier, people are going to be expecting it. So instead of doing that now, people are going to be kind of centering you, right? What you can do is you can slide around the corner. Now, as you're sliding and they start to shoot you, you can now drop shot, and that just completely messes up their centering, because they're not going to expect you to be on the floor. Most of the time someone drop shots is when they're standing, they're kind of like standing in a gunfight, or they are kind of prone around the corner, right? So if you can do this, if you can slide into a drop shot, it's a game changer. If you can utilize this and just really mess up your centering, like I said earlier, move your crosshair. So as you go down for the drop shot, move your crosshair up. You will find so much success with this mechanic. One of my favorite ones. Take your time, practice it. It may be difficult at first, and that's okay. These are the skill gaps that are going to get you guys to the next level. Let's move on to tip number 10. Which is going to be the Dolphin Dive. Chat, if you guys are not on hybrid, I want you guys to go into your settings and put on hybrid, okay? Hybrid is very effective because it allows you to Dolphin Dive as well as slide without any issues. So a few things about Dolphin Dive: when do we use it and how can we use it as our movement? So the first thing, when do we use it? There's two ways. One is off ledges, okay? If you can dolphin dive off ledges, what happens is you hit your ankle on the ledge. Very important stuff. Once you hit your ankle off the ledge, what happens is when you land, you can shoot straight away. Okay, it's kind of like you're jumping off the ledge. The other thing is when you dolphin dive without hitting your leg off the ledge, if you just dolphin dive off a building, you can't actually shoot until you land. So you're basically a sitting duck or prone duck for a few seconds. So I don't recommend that. I try to dolphin dive off ledges because it allows me to be ready for the gunfight and just catch people off guard. Okay, so that's the first way. The second way is if you're going from left to right, or you're going through a cross where someone's pre-aiming it, instead of jumping across or sliding across, if you can dolphin dive across, it just makes it a little bit harder for them to shoot you. Once again, it's just adding that movement to escape. Okay, so two reasons to do the dolphin dive. One is to get off ledges, to finesse in gunfights, and two is to finesse outside of gunfights, to escape gunfights, to evade, to move out the way, just to be really effective and get out of those crucial areas that you need to. Okay, chat, we're at a good spot. We're going to power through this one and we're going to kind of go through the next few. And yeah, hopefully so far these first 10 tips have been quite crucial. Like I said, they're going to take some time to implement, so don't stress too much. Tip number 11, the long jump. Now this one, most of you guys are probably doing regardless. That's why it's quite late down on our list, simply because it's just a long jump. It's just a jump around the corner. But I wanted to go through a few things to kind of focus on this. When you are long jumping, right, what you want to use is your momentum. So tip number 11 and 12, the next two we're going through, are going to go hand in hand, okay? So with the long jump, when do you want to use it? You want to use it just like we said with the bunny hop, when you know that somebody's around the corner perhaps, and you feel like you can jump around the corner and win that gunfight. Because when you jump around that corner with the momentum, you're going to have the advantage of the first shot. Why? Because we're going to be cameraing them, just like we went through earlier. So you're going to be able to camera them around the corner, so go for that first shot. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to do the long jump when you don't have any information and they may be in a corner you're not ready for. So what you can do is shoulder, okay? If you were to shoulder first, let's say you shoulder first, get some information, and maybe he's not looking at you, then you long jump, right? Shoulder for information, from the shoulder, make a long jump. Or look at your mini map. Someone's on your left, he's shooting someone else, then long jump out, okay? Make sure to utilize your game surroundings to make a decision of when to use this mechanic. The next thing, and why we're gonna go through number 12 after this, about the short jump, is the long jump. You kind of need some momentum, okay? So you want to make sure that when you guys are using the long jump, you have space to run. You have space to run, and another key component is you want to jump and then aim in, okay? I want you guys to try this. I want you to aim in and then jump. You don't really get any further because you're really slow. When you aim in, you can't jump far. So to do the long jump, you want to run. As soon as you jump, you then want to aim in and center towards the opponent. That's how you kind of want to do it. So if you jump around a corner, you want to run. As you jump, you're also turning towards your opponent and aiming in. It becomes second nature the more you do this. So make sure you guys practice, and the long jump will be literally a part of your arsenal. And it's one of the most important and most effective mechanics, taking us into tip number 12, okay? The short jump is one of my favorite ones, something I really go through in my coaching sessions. Again, if you guys want custom coaching sessions, hit me up on Discord. I'll help you guys get through with your personal gameplay, see what takes you to the next level. But the short jump it's basically the same as a long jump. The only difference is when you don't have space or you don't have momentum in terms of, like, let's say you're in a corner, right? You're stuck behind a statue, for example. You don't have time for the long jump because by the time you jump out, remember, we need space, right? We need momentum to go through. They're going to kill you. They're going to be pre-aiming you. So we don't really have the luxury of doing that. But with a short jump, you don't need any space. All I want you to do is aim down sight. And again, very important. Remember in tip number 11, I told you guys, I want you to jump and then aim down sight. Why did I say that? It's because you need to use the momentum from the movement to extend your jump. But with tip number 12, with short jump, because we don't really have a lot of movement anyways, because we're stuck in a corner, we're kind of stuck behind statue and stuff, this is where we use the other jump. We aim in first and then jump. Now, very crucial. The reason why this is one of my favorite mechanics, it just bails you out of so many situations. The best way to do this that I personally found is when I aim down sight and jump, as I'm jumping, I'm kind of pre-firing as well. So let's say there's an opponent on my left and I know he's there. As I'm jumping and aiming down sight, I'm already shooting so that when I'm coming around the corner, I'm already hitting him. And remember what I said earlier, when you camera them, you also see them first. So now not only do I see them first, I'm basically hitting them at the first opportunity. It's just an efficient way of killing them. And most of the time you catch them off guard and they kind of just stand there with their pants on, like, you know what, fair play. Like they just weren't ready for it. So short jump is very situational, but if you don't have this in your game, it will cost you. Very crucial. Make sure you guys utilize it. It's probably my favorite mechanic, up there with the slide into the prone, and it's just some insane stuff. Going into tip number 13. 13 is going to be snaking behind cover. This one's GA'd, so it's quite down on my list, but it's one of those where in rank play people do it. So if you guys want to do it, feel free to use it. The reason why I say GA, for people that don't know, in the pro league, in the CDL, it's not allowed, and I mean that pretty much shows how good it is. The fact that it's not allowed in the pro league, by the way, I agree, and I'm glad it's not allowed in the pro league. It's ridiculously broken. It's not a mechanic that makes the game better, it makes the game worse. But like I said, rank play, it's kind of you know, the rules are the rules. You can do what you want. So the way we do this, okay, people ask me all the time, how do I snake? What's the efficient way of snaking? I want you guys to think about what actually you're trying to do, right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to camera the opponent by peeking your head out. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to peek your head out so that you see them first. That's kind of the first basis. But the second thing you're trying to do is you're trying to gain information and get the advantage. Now, where people go wrong in snaking is they simply snake to just snake. Like, they'll do the mechanic, they'll stand there snaking, and then they won't know when to shoot. So what I recommend is being efficient. So how do we snake? I want you to go prone, and then I want you to run forward. Let's start with that. Prone, run forward. Prone, run forward. As you run forward, Now, I want you to go a little bit backwards as you're proning. Why? Because when you're running forward, you're against the wall now, right? You're against the wall. So we want to have a little bit of space. We don't want to be right against the wall. So I want you to go. So let's start again. Now we're going to stand in a standing position. We're going to go prone. We're going to run forward. So we're going to press the run button forward just 1 second so we stand up again. As we prone, we're just moving a little bit backwards. So we take 1 step backwards as you're proning. You see? So now you're going prone, up, prone, up. Now all I want you to do is, as you're doing this, instead of simply going like forward and backwards, I want you to go slightly diagonally. So like go left or right slightly. So you want to move your left stick like up or left and up and right. And what happens is you're now snaking in a diagonal action. The reason why this is so important is because if players pre-aiming you, if you're snaking up and down on the same head glitch, they're going to be able to predict that. But if you're going left to right, you're basically playing whack-a-mole, right? They can't even see your head and you're like, what the hell? They don't know when you're peeking. And by the time they wait for you, you're going to have the information. The next thing I want you guys to do is snake efficiently. So if you're snaking for information or to buy time, that's fine. As soon as you realize someone's out in the open, I want you to snake and shoot him, because you have the advantage. So utilize it, trust your gun skill, snake and use it if you feel like you can get the kill, because the longer you take, sometimes it doesn't help you and you're just kind of giving them a chance to kill you. And there's also times where you need to buy time. So snaking is a very, very important mechanic to 1, buy time, 2, get information, and 3, get kills that you probably shouldn't get because of how broken it is. So make sure you guys are utilizing it. Incredibly broken mechanic. Into tip number 14, very, very similar. It's actually snaking while standing. Now this one is a little bit weird. Most people don't really realize they're doing this, but they do anyways, and it's a really good mechanic because this is one of those where you're kind of caught out in the open. You don't have a lot of cover and you're like, what do I really do here? So I want you guys to start snaking while standing. Okay, so same thing. Prone into the jump, prone into the run, prone into the run. But the reason why it's so important is because you have no cover. So if they jump around the corner, right? Let's say that they've got the same video, right? They're watching the boy Arv, they're watching the same video, they're going for that long jump, right? They're like, yo, Arv told me to camera this guy, we're gonna fry him. They jump around the corner and you're standing there, they're going to kill you. But if you're snaking while standing, let's say you're out in the open and you kind of got caught out, instead of standing still, if you start snaking, as they come around the corner, you might be prone, right? By the time you go up, they look down, you get the kill. So adding that movement just makes it really, really hard for them to kill you. So when you're in a bad spot, when you're kind of out in the open, make sure to snake while standing, and it allows you to get a lot more cover. Also, when you're on like high ground, you can use the floor as cover basically, and you can only do that while snaking while standing, and you can use the whole floor as a head glitch. So certain maps like sub base, Karachi on top third, stuff like that is really important to do that. Just gives you the edge. Into tip number 15, the last and final tip, it's going to be using cover to line up the shot. This isn't an exact like specific mechanic in terms of what to do, but what it is just utilizing all the movements we went through together. So I want you guys to now use your cover and be smart with the movement we learned. Okay, so if you're using the cover and you feel like I need to do the backwards jump, try that. If you feel like you need to do maybe a short jump, try that. This one is very important at tying everything together. So use the cover, use the map, and with the map I want you guys to have the best opportunity to camera your opponents. And that's going to be it. That's going to be 15 movement mechanics that I think if you guys can implement and practice will get you guys to the next level for sure. So yeah, YouTube, if you guys know the drill, man, drop a like on the video. This one took a while to make, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's try getting 100 likes on the video. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the love. Catch me on Twitch. We're live probably not every day, but we're trying our best to be live as much as possible. Catch me on Twitch. Catch me in our Discord server for coaching. YouTube, catch you guys for another one tomorrow. Peace.